Welcome back to another exciting episode of New Metal Files. Now, this episode has been requested ever since I started doing this series, but I don't know. I've always been kind of iffy on whether or not I'm going to do it because, well, pretty much I don't know if you can really categorize SNOT as a new metal band, although they are constantly thrown in that genre. I don't know. I kind of feel like they overall had more of just a kind of a California sound at the time, at least, that bouncing around through. They were definitely like influenced by a lot of those groups, early Deftones and stuff like that. I feel like are in the same vein. This strange kind of like hybrid between the Orange County sound and just like the furthest reaches of California, kind of combining everything and really having an original sound for the time, at least. Although, you know, a lot of bands came out that I feel kind of picked up their sound and kind of ran with it a little bit, but those always kind of seem to have more hardcore tendencies and more punk influences, whereas I think SNOT had a lot more funk inspired stuff. There was a lot more like infectious grooves kind of happenings, and you know, even like not that it's a far stretch from there, but even some suicidal and stuff like that. So I think with SNOT there was a lot happening there, and definitely with Lynn Straight's vocals there was a lot happening there, the more in-depth kind of stuff, not your typical jump up and down, fuck I hate everything, fucking 8th grade kind of aggression, you know. And while the group themselves may not have had a chance to fully, you know, live out their career aspirations or whatever, ironically it wasn't anything to do with them. You know, the guys may have had a reputation to say the least, but what they also had, aside from reputation as being partiers and basically you know, low rent criminals, if I'm being honest, is they also had a reputation of being some pretty cool dudes and making some pretty original music. So what I'm going to get to tonight is, you know, like I said, the group wasn't around very long. I didn't get really too into them back in. So basically tonight I'm just going to kind of be revisiting that a little bit. And if you watch this on Patreon, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you get a longer version of this episode where we're going to go and check out the music video and talk a little bit more about, you know, the reunions and stuff like that. And if you subscribe to the Patreon and hit me up, you also get your very own Staunch Gang pin. You can put it on your hat like I got mine. So if you like that, if that's your thing, extra content from me and stuff like that, and extra videos and a little behind the scenes look, check out my Patreon. There's a link below. It's only $5 a month, and you really do help the channel, you know, keep going, and you get videos like this and whatnot. So it's going to be a good time. Also, check out my podcast, Two Corey's Forever, and be sure to subscribe right now to this channel because, hey, I'm kind of drowning out here, guys. So if anything you guys can do to help as far as sharing, commenting, whatnot, it all goes so far. I'm also going to put a link down below. I've been doing a lot of stand-up lately. We're doing it about over a year. And me and the crew, the Crashed Out Comedy crew, we finally got our own channel going. There's a link below if you guys are into that. Some comedy stuff from me and the crew. Check it out. Subscribe. Support us down below. Tell them Staunch sent you.
Mike Doling.
Oh yeah, I remember this track already. Hell yeah, man. Like right off the bat, I mean, it's pretty obvious here. I mean, just like Lynn Straight's voice in general, it's pretty unique, especially for the time. Like I said, I feel like a lot of groups kind of tried to emulate this sound. I remember getting really into like Suburban Noise Records and whatnot, and I remember hearing Mower for the first time, and I'm not sure, you know, which one of those groups kind of popped first or whatever, but I always thought Mower was a pretty good kind of, you know, carrying of the torch for this sound. I don't know. What do you guys think down below? What other groups do you think sounded similar to SNOT? Love that tone, man. Like, these dudes are fucking pros. Damn shame they didn't keep going. I think like these dudes would have really had like a big career, like especially like on the radio or something. I think they had plenty of potential. I would have loved to hear like a radio single from Snot. So they have that classic look. I mean, we got some new metal swag there. Look at that dude with the hair in the back. We got the white boy dreads. You gotta love it. It's like I don't know. This is not new metal. It's strange that they get categorized that all the time. It's strange that even I feel it in my head. When I'm talking Snot, I think new metal. Must be just that low end bass, that funk. More like I guess kind of like people say Korn is a new metal band too. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I see why they say that. Similar here. It's like saying Infectious Groove is a new metal band. No. Weird. But I mean, they got all the trademarks. They definitely hit when that shit was huge. So I don't know. Like, when's the first time you guys remember hearing Snot? Because from what I could remember, I want to say they were on some, video game soundtracks and stuff like that. I definitely remember this track right here. Actually, I remember a friend of mine, Aaron. He's the guy. He's the one that like showed me who Snot was. And this was after Lynch Straight had already passed, I believe. I think like Straight Up had came out or whatever. And I must have made a comment like, I don't even know who the fuck this is about. And he was like, well, you never heard of Snot? And showed me Snot, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool," but I never really, attached to it or whatever. What's up, Aaron? We should smoke about it sometime. I remember this single being on like some of those strange compilations you'd get at concerts and whatnot. Back in the day, like at concerts, like street teams would be passing out CDs, and I swear I remember this track being on a few of them. And it's back in those days, you'd get like raw tracks, you'd get like demo versions and shit. It was strange. I wish I still had a bunch of those because I know for a fact there was some weird stuff on there that I never hear anybody talk about, and I definitely can't find. That just happened a lot back in the day, and especially in the day with the magazines and whatnot, ordering all kinds of weird compilations. You were never far away from that Snot logo, the dog. You know what I mean? I forget the dog's name, but the dog with the ball on his nose or whatever. Like I just love that. That's another thing too that's very of the time. It's like it brings up memories of like Sublime and shit like that. A group that kind of is just known by their dog. I love that. And if you don't know much about Lynn Straight and the band, well, pretty much, Lynn Straight he was like a crazy dude. There's some funny stories about him. There's one like a funny story about him being on stage that Fred Durst, dared him to walk out of that big toilet on Ozfest. He dared him to walk out of it like naked, and he got chased by the cops, hid in Ozzy's dressing room and shit like that. A lot of crazy stories with that dude, but what caught up to him was just fate, I guess. He wound up in a car accident, and he and his dog perished like pretty much immediately, sadly. And then that's whenever we got like all the Lynn Straight stuff, you know what I mean? The Straight Up. I talked about Straight Up a few times here, especially on the Seven Dust episode, because I feel like that was really spearheaded in the press by LeJean Witherspoon, even though it was like more of the surviving members of Snot. It was more of like their thing. But I do plan on just kind of doing a dive into that particular compilation. If you guys want to see that or hear that, let me know, and I'll definitely get to it. But I don't really want to dive too deep into the Straight Up era of the whole shebang. But I guess if you're not familiar, I mean, pretty much what happened was the guys from the surviving members of Snot wanted to pay homage to their friend. You know what I mean? And it was hard for them to find a label to do it. But they managed to find someone to help and willing to do all the weird contractual stuff, and they basically just got a hold of like all their friends, all their singers, all it's like a who's who of the new metal crew at the time. Like everyone from Kitty to Incubus, like so many different people, Pantera. So It's like the dude really made an impact. The band really made an impact for their one album that they got out there. And I was saying earlier, like I'm very curious on like where they would have went, you know, where they would have wound up. I would have imagine like a radio hit, like a a butt rock radio hit. I feel like there's no way that could have been too bad. Like if they went that route for a few albums and then went independent again or something, I think that it all would have worked. I think they had their demons pretty much under control. It just didn't happen, sad to say. Rest in peace to Lynn Straight. It's like a lot of groups like that. Like I think if they would have, if these guys would have kept going around, kept touring, they would have definitely done the full circuit of like all the new metal guys. They definitely would have toured with Nonpoint or some shit, you know, if they hadn't already. And even now, like even after everything was said and done, we did get a reunion with the, I believe they reunited in like 2014, and then a few years after that they did like a big Wayne Static kind of like a reunion kind of homage kind of benefit thing or something. Which of course, you know, Static X always has to come up, don't they? Fuck, man. So yeah, I don't know, let's see how that turned out. Let's see how the reunion kind of went, because I'm kind of curious to see how this band would work without that iconic vocalist. I mean, you know, they got it going on. They're a great band. That's the thing about these dudes. It's like there's no denying they're rocking the fuck out. Very underrated bands, in my opinion. Still, even when listening to this, it's all there. It's just, I mean, goddamn, there's just some singers, some bands that you just can't replace some vocalists. You know what I mean? I don't think that needs to be, you know, beat to death anymore. Like, it just can't be done. Lynn Straight was just one of a kind when it came to his vocals. But hey, I'll be there to support the dudes if they ever tour and they come through the area. Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about Snot. Let's see. Snot is an American nu metal band right off the bat. Right off the bat, even Wikipedia says, if Wikipedia says so, it must be, right? Nu metal. Snot is an American nu metal band from Santa Barbara, California, formed in 1995. The band released their only studio album, Get Some, with founding vocalist Lynn Straight in 1997, and disbanded after his death in 1998. In 2008, the lineup of lead guitarist Mickey Doling, bassist John Fahnestock, and drummer Jamie Miller and rhythm guitarist Sonny Mayo reunited. In 2009, a new band, Tons, was formed with Brandon Espinosa as vocalist. As of February 2014, Snot has reformed again. Interesting shit there, man. And the dudes really tore ass. Or what I remember Snot really blowing up was, I think it was during the Ozfest 98. Actually, I think it was those compilations where I first may have seen them. I'm not sure. Their fan base, I feel, is really strong because Snot was never really forgotten. They're not a forgotten band. They're not an irrelevant band. They're a group that still like and somehow influenced so many different legends. You know what I'm saying? Like that grew up just always paying homage to Lynn Straight. And it's like a sound, I feel, that didn't really last. The overall sound, it's not something that you really hear anymore, although there's quite a little resurgence going on there. But that strange sound, it's like you don't really hear it anymore. And I guess you kind of do with some groups. Like right off the bat, I can, like Head PE kind of still fucks with that sound a little bit, you know what I mean? But it's like things are just so much more raw now. People are afraid to have a good time with this aggressive style of music, and that's just in my opinion, I know. So like I'm glad that like labels like Subnoise are still pushing this stuff with Head PE and Dropout Kings and shit like that, and they're just having you can have a good time and be pissed off, you know what I'm saying? Well, guys, I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. I'm very happy that this new metal file series is still going. It's a great time. And hit me up on Instagram if you want your Nonpoint or some shit sticker. These things have been really hitting. They're all over town. They're all over the surrounding area down here. And Nonpoint should be coming to town soon with Dropout Kings, actually. So I'm hoping to get into that show. I'm going to try to interview the guys. They're aware of this stupid joke. It's just something that I like to fuck around with you assholes with. So it's been fun doing these episodes with you. I'll see you guys next time. Please be sure to comment down below, subscribe, like, all of that stuff. Thank you so much. Until next time, this has been the Nu Metal Files.